Let me go ahead and call to order this meeting of the Public Safety Local Income Tax Committee of the Monroe County Local Income Tax Council for July 17th, 2025. So let's just confirm which committee members are here. You want to just say your name and your municipality?
Richard Carter, Town of Steinsville.
Kate Wilkes, Monroe County Council.
Scott Oldham, Ellisville Town Council.
I'm Isabel Piedmont Smith, Bloomington City Council, and on Zoom we have Courtney.
Courtney Daly, Bloomington City Council.
And David. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. And we have Clerk Bolden and Lisa Lehner and Christine Chang from the City Council office as well. And some folks in the room for being here. Okay, so today we will follow up on the option for applications for PS Lit support from emergency service providers. Then there were none. Forewarning. Spoiler alert, there were none. Then we will talk about our recommendations for funding PSAP, the Public Safety Answering Point. Then we will talk about any scheduling matters, if there are any. Then we move on to other business, anything that committee members feel needs to be discussed, and then we will adjourn. So let me just go to Attorney Lehner for the note on the applications.
We've not received any applications. Those were distributed after our last meeting. So I really don't have anything to report at this point.
All right. Any comments, questions on that? I can attest the email went out to everybody that was eligible.
Sorry. Can you remind me when the due date was for the applications?
June 30th.
I'm sorry?
June 30.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's move on to a discussion of recommendations to the Monroe County Local Income Tax Council regarding the PSAP tax rate. So that's the rate to fund our central dispatch, our public safety answering point. So do we have anybody from the Central Dispatch Policy Board to just go over the budget, or?
I'm happy to go over the budget, but there's nobody here from dispatch other than there's nobody separate from the committee that's here from dispatch.
Okay. Well, Treasurer McClellan, you want to join us at the table and just give us a brief rundown of the budget request?
All right. In your packet, the page that has the big spreadsheet with the orange and the green and the blue color, yeah, that spreadsheet shows a year-over-year history of what the PSAP rate has been, and then what we are recommending the PSAP rate be for next year. That's highlighted in yellow. That rate is the same as last year, and that it's the 0.0631, and that rate is estimated to generate the same amount of revenue as last year. That amount of revenue will go up a little bit because LIT always goes up a little bit because we're just ahead of when the DLGF releases what the final numbers are going to be. I want to update the county and the city council, this whole committee, of what the final number will be when that comes out. So the first number, if you go to the box all the way to the left that starts with 2026 rate recommendation, it shows that the PS Lit total revenue is estimated at 11 million. And then the amount that's dedicated to PSAP is 2.78 million. And then in the orange, there's an empty box. The next box in orange is empty because that's where the applications from the volunteer fire departments will go if there had been any, and there's none, so that's empty. And then the number that in orange, 8.2 million, that's the amount of PS Lit that's left that's going to be allocated to the units, Steinsville, Ellisville, City, County, based on a population. Those estimates are in blue. The first number, 3.6, is county, 3.6 million, 4.3 million the city, 268,000 Ellettsville, and 1,648 Steinsville. And then, just like last year, our plan is to use the new revenue from PSAP and city reserves in the PSAP fund to pay for the budget. If we go back up in the packet to the page that has it's just a white page with a spreadsheet. It says PSAP 2025 activity statement, and it's above budget performance report. Keep going. There you go. The first box kind of explains what the city's how the city sees this working. That we're gonna how much the city has in reserves, which is 2.1 million. The low estimate of what we're gonna get next year, 2.78 million, and then that number 4.7 million is the dispatch budget, the part that the city pays, and we should be fine. We should be fine next year. And yes, this could possibly spend all our reserves, but historically dispatch has not been able to fill all those positions. It doesn't spend its entire budget. So if dispatch were to spend its entire budget next year, we would be fine. And then what would we do after that? We would have to raise the PSAP rate to continue, or we would talk to the county. This spreadsheet, I think that we could go even another year using county reserves. So, we have options in the future. We just have to work together to figure out what those are. The rest of those numbers there are just kind of like my proof of my calculations. Like the first little chart is the revenues that we expect to receive, 4.1 million by the end of the year. The second chart on the left-hand side is what we expect to spend based on current spending, is $2,007,587. That's what I kind of think that we would expect to spend unless dispatch goes and hires a whole bunch of people, because they have empty open positions. And then the last group of numbers on the left is 2.4 million in personnel, the category 1. That 2.4 million is what is budgeted, and in their budget, and they do have the ability to spend that if they hire more people. If we spend the budget, we would have 1.6 left in reserve. If we spend what I expect us to spend, we'll have 2.1 million left in reserves. So that 2.1 million is the number I'm using to estimate what our cash balance will be at the end of the year. It's included in that little chart of numbers at the very top box. So as you can see, category 1, it's budgeted for 2.4 million, and our monthly payroll, and I used a high month of payroll times 6. Like we had one month where it was a little bit higher than all the other months. I used that month times 6 to get 1.19 million to estimate. And I'm done talking. You can ask questions.
Thank you, Controller McClellan. Are there questions about either the recommended PSAP rate or the dollar amount that we hope to gain from the rate, and how it factors into the budget? Yeah.
And forgive me because I'm going to struggle with wording.
Me too.
Yeah. So we know that we're, as units of government, we'll be fine next year. It's 27 where things become very rocky and murky and almost you can't see beyond a certain date. And again, I ask this more as a strategic question than an operational question. Would we not be better potentially bumping the PSAP rate a little bit to make sure we're conserving the reserves, not knowing what we're going to hit in 27, so that we're flush with reserves both in city, county, Ellettsville, Steinsville reserves, as opposed to going in there potentially only having county reserves left to county Ellettsville reserves, Steinsville reserves left to pay for 27 if it really gets bad. Because I don't think any of us can predict right now. I mean, even the third-party entities that we've all employed to try and give us their crystal balls to what's going to happen can never pin down what 27 actually looks like. And I would really hate to go into 27 knowing that this funding source is going to go away, or at least is going to have to be combined with something else, and we don't even know how to do that yet. So I would hate to see a gap that we have to cover otherwise, because if we do, we're definitely in some hard straits, and it will affect the other portions of city-county Ellisville budget if we've got to make up the difference.
I think that's something that you guys should decide on, and I was bringing up this spreadsheet
Sure.
while you were talking so that we could put numbers in and say, like, if we raise the rate to 0.07, what would be the estimated
Right.
revenue?
Well,
So you can
I don't want to
decide.
I don't want to get wild with it. But
Yeah,
on the other
yeah.
hand, man, that just looms really large because of the impact it would have on all of our budgets that we don't expect.
Yeah.
And when we're going to have a reduced financial windfall, as it were, coming in. If somebody could say, hey, here's how this is going to work, y'all be fine, I'd be happy with that. No one can even say what we're doing yet.
Nope. And I'm sorry, I'll let other members of the committee speak to this if you, I'm not even.
Well, what happens to reserve funds, for PSAP reserve funds in the county and the city after the legislation goes into effect?
No one
We
knows.
don't know.
We might get some assumptions, but we don't know.
I mean, maybe, I don't know if anyone online has heard something else. Counselor Henry, have you heard anything from the auditor about that?
No, but I mean, the structure, the workflow has my attention, so, the increase in PSAP, I mean, that comes, the budget comes off the top, and then we right now distribute according to certified shares, but we don't know what that looks like after 27 either, right? Like, that's really, so unless somebody has clarity on how we distribute after 27, that's kind of an interesting question too. Does that make sense to other people in the room, or, the comptroller on how that, does that make sense?
That makes
what I
sense.
asked?
That,
Okay. Councilor Wiltz, yeah, I don't know from the auditor on that one, but yeah, my questions go to workflow now about how Mr. Oldenhall just said, if we are doing or pulling back reserves, how is that distributed? It's distributed in the absence of, the PS lit goes away, the certified share process changes after 27, and so I guess where I'm kind of warming up to the idea of holding reserves as much as possible makes sense to me. With the assumption that we will be able to distribute those funds somehow, but that's also an item. Mr. Oldham, do you agree with that? we don't even understand that mechanism.
Yeah, and again, we're all kind of shooting in the dark here. My fear is just we get to 27, and forgive me, I've got to think of Ellisville's budget in my current role. Even if we're asked to come up with $200,000, that's going to be a huge impact that's usually taken care of by these funds. That will probably mean personnel that we have to sacrifice to pay for central dispatch, as opposed to we cruise into 27, and that's a bad word to say, but we cruise in 27 knowing we at least have a year in the bank, or close to a year in the bank, if we have to gut it out and figure out what we're doing until 28.
Okay. My only other thought on this is maybe it's a little bit of a devil's advocate, is since there is a projected high cash balance, and it is in the budget that got my attention about the pretty significant increase in the was it the health insurance piece on the personnel line, 51,230. Can someone walk me through that $500,000 increase and where that ought to come from, if it's an increase in the rate or out of the reserves? Is there any thought about that? Or am I the only one? I'm going to go to Jessica, Ms. McCollum. Like, what's going on there so I can compare it?
I wish dispatch was here to explain that, because I didn't create this budget. And it says health and life insurance, and it did go up $500,000. Our overall health insurance is going up 8%. I don't think that's what's reflected here. I just can't speak to that. I think that there's something else involved in that.
Are they projecting at full staffing?
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
So I guess that's where I'm throwing in.
I think that we think it could be that it's projected at full staffing. What you have in the other columns is actual, and then this is budget.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It is.
So I know that I'm talking over the Zoom hybrid, but I'll just wrap up by saying, I guess in pinpointing that as an example of, is that the trigger to raise the rate versus tapping into the balance? And also understanding, we have this cliff that we don't really understand past 27. Those are some thoughts in my mind that aren't fully formed today. That's where I'm at the moment.
So the budget passed by the Dispatch Policy Board assumes full staffing both for salaries and benefits. I mean, I hope we can get there. I know we've been struggling. What are the reserves the county has? Does anybody know that figure?
I'll go on Gateway and look it up for the end of 20, what was last year? 24?
Right.
What do other committee members think about the idea of creating a buffer by increasing the PSAP rate?
I mean, I'm not really a voting member of this board, but I think that it would be fiscally responsible to do something like that. Because, I mean, if we don't know after next year what's going to happen, I mean, I know Steinville only gets $1,600, and that's hard for us to replace if, you know, something were to happen, so.
The county PSAP fund at the end of 24 was $2,748,000. 2,748,327.
Is that all in, or is that just coming out of PS Lit and not counting the 911 funds?
That's not counting the 911 funds, like, yeah, that's not counting 911 funds.
Which I don't
911 is a fund.
think is much at all.
Yeah, I think they might just clear that out.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know
Kind of hope you're sitting on 7 or 8 million.
Right.
You never
Yeah.
know.
Case.
Hey, worth turning over the stone.
either. Yeah.
So that's maybe half a year of central PSAP expenditures.
Mm-hmm.
Counselor Wills, what do you have a opinion on the increasing the PSAP rate?
I'm conflicted. Very conflicted. Just knowing all of the other things that we have up in the air. Not just for 28, but for 26.
No, I get it.
Yeah, so.
It's a tough thing to even contemplate, because
Yeah.
like you, we've all got things up in the air. And I
Yeah.
don't want to cut what goes to, the 4 individual bodies. I just really hate to see us dig this deep into reserves, knowing we've got problems on the horizon.
Can someone remind me of how we got the reserves? So I just remember a few years ago that was, wow, we have all these reserves and we needed to maybe start spending down, and now we're.
A lot of it's in the 100s, because you only have essentially 50%, 55% staffing right now.
And the interlocal does require that their funds, the access be put in a separate fund. So we've just been understaffed for so long that we've had these wild reserves.
There is $2 million in the Monroe County 911 fund.
Okay.
What?
$2 million,
Not
204,
7, but we're close.
2042, yeah.
Closer than $1.95.
425.
As of end of 24, in the E911 fund, which is
Yes.
all in the county, right?
Yes, yeah.
Forgive me, is that a restricted fund that it can only be spent for
Yes.
certain things, or can it be used for salaries?
And no, it cannot be used for, I think it's only communications
Okay. Equipment.
equipment, yeah.
Okay.
Pretty sure, but we can let the county double check that.
Again, 2 million sitting there, and what would be, 2 point something million? in-
2.7.
It gives us a full year, even if we hold the line where we're at, with city spending down their reserves. It at least staves that off a little bit, if somehow that 911 fund could be used for a lot of what the 2s, 3s, and 4s are instead of 100s.
And I agree. my concern is, will my colleagues leave that money for that purpose? I know that it's restricted for certain things, but it would require the county to act on
Yeah, you'd have to
committing their.
appropriate it, yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't speak for council, so that's where I'm like, yes, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just gives us a way out of not having to
Yeah,
raise
yeah.
the rate this year, just hold the line and know we've got an emergency cash balance somewhere.
Right,
Yeah.
and we can do the additional appropriations as requested, right, Kate, if that's the will of council.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, and I don't know what I don't know about, like, if there been any discussions around doing anything other than sitting on that money for this purpose.
Sure.
But yeah, I do think that, I mean, we're not anticipating a fully filled out staff for this year, are we?
They're trying.
I know they're trying.
They're trying.
Really hard. I mean,
We need to have it available because we really need those positions.
Oh,
How
yeah.
many positions down is dispatch right now?
18.
They're at about 55% staff, 60% staff.
Wow, okay.
And I think, just as a.
Do you all want
caveat
to
here-
come to the table?
No,
Because
I'll speak right now. This is
Okay.
fine.
It's just easier for Casper.
I just know that, that dispatch made a change in their working hours. That goes into effect, I believe, next week, real soon. So the hope is, oh, well, thank you. The hope is that it will attract applicants and will keep the applicants, or the ones that are in training, because they tend to drop out halfway through training. And then you have, so you think you have all these applicants and that you're making some good headway, and then you have people quit that are already in the positions, and so you got to take 2 steps back. So it's like, and that's been happening year after year. So this year, the decision was made to change their hours, to try something different, to see if that would be a little more pleasing to, attractive to the applicants as they go through. So maybe that will help, that they can get the, the applicants through the training and get them started and keep our numbers up, get them up. So that's just a piece of information that I thought might help.
Thank you.
Help you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yep.
And that was Cheryl Goland, Deputy
Sorry, yes.
Controller. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, another quick question. You're projecting the end of this year, we're gonna have what in reserves?
I think I
If
said
everything stays according to,
it's on, Christine, if you wouldn't
2.1?
mind going to the, 2.1, I think it was, that in the packet, keep going down there and zoom in on that white page.
so that's the additional reserves that we would generate this year.
Yeah. We would generate, not like our ending cash balance at the end of this year would be 2.1 million.
So the city wouldn't necessarily be spending much of their reserves down
Yeah.
to get to where we're at,
Exactly.
assuming we hold true.
Let me bring our packet back up. Let's see, packet.
And honestly, knowing that those 911 funds are there, we can just leave it or bump it just slightly to generate more reserves. But again, a lot of things up in the air.
Yeah.
So, wait, can you scroll up, please? Is it Christine who's controlling it? There we go. Okay, so estimated PSAP reserves. So that's end of 2025?
Yes.
Yeah.
So not necessarily new reserves generated in 25, but total?
No, total.
Yeah, okay. So we do have a cushion with county reserves and the E911 reserves, but the E911, we'd have to count on the county council to allocate for PSAP.
Yeah, and I think maybe some folks might be aware of this, but Councilor Wilson, I'm trying to recall what the minimum fund balance we set. Did we set a minimum fund balance on this one when we took the vote the other day about all the minimum fund balances? The numbers escaping me, do you recall?
Well, I actually had, I think I missed that meeting, but we,
Yeah.
I don't
I'm reading for it as we speak, yeah.
yeah, I am trying to remember, I don't remember seeing that on the list. I don't think it was.
Okay, well, I'm just double checking. It's for everyone else's awareness. The council did pass to set some minimum fund balances on a variety of our funds in the county. I'm just trying to recollect if this was one that we touched where we had to maintain a minimum or not. Yeah, that's all. I'm just making aware of it might not be relevant as I'm looking forward.
Councilmember Daley, do you have any thoughts on this? Don't want me to put you on the spot, just want to make sure everybody has a chance.
No, I appreciate that. Actually, so something that I've been wondering, and I think this question was asked last time, and I don't remember if we had an answer or if I'm just not remembering the answer. What happens to our reserves when PS Lit goes away, if we still have reserves? Did we answer that last time?
No.
Nobody knew.
We don't know.
Nobody knows. Okay. Sorry, that's what I've been focused on as we're talking about all these reserves.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. No, I'm just
I
reacting
agree.
this way because we should know, but we don't know. The state doesn't tell us.
I mean, yeah, it's.
I'm not sure they know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they should know before they vote on things. But anyway.
I mean, yeah, here's the thing. We are in for some, and I've been saying this on repeat for the past several months, we're in for some really tough financial times ahead, just all around. So we do want to be cautious with our money, but then at the same time, because we know this is going away, I think that should factor into decisions that we make, you know. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, except that, does it factor into, because we know it's going away, let's build up these reserves, or let's not build up these reserves because we don't know what's happening to the reserves? I mean, presumably it's not like a clawback situation,
Right.
of course, but it,
Again, my questions were directed at, I know what Ellisville's budget is, so if we were presented a bill with $200,000+ for dispatch, I don't know how we pay that without laying off personnel, and that's what I really want to avoid. And that's where this whole discussion when PS Lit was originally formed was, what's the funding mechanism to make this central dispatch facility and other things work? And that was one of them, because you had Steinsville, Ellisville, and clearly the unincorporated areas that really wouldn't have the financial resources to pitch in to make this work, other than this countywide tax that we could take this off the top of. And that's why we all assured ourselves this comes off the top first, and then everybody gets whatever's left.
yeah.
So it scares me to go to where we're having a depressed reserves going into 27, 28, where we really don't know how we're going to fund this, because I don't know that they've even given us a formula for local option income tax as a whole yet.
Correct.
Right.
So
Correct.
who knows what could come out of that, because that's still a discussion to be had at the state level. And I guess from looking at it, just to add to it, I guess I'm comfortable now knowing there's that much in 911 funds that could potentially be used to make up some of the differences if we just held the line where we were. I just don't want to see us
Yeah.
lose sight of the fact we've got a big bill potentially coming that I don't know how many of us pay without impacting other programs.
So the SB 1 did provide for an option for the county to have a public safety income tax, right? But that doesn't include dispatch, or it does?
Includes, it's fire and EMS is how it's described.
That's
Fire
what I
and
thought.
EMS.
So not
But
dispatch.
they're not the same for municipalities.
No.
to go after. They can only go up to the local income tax.
Right. Or they could ask the county to help.
Right.
So it's only the county that can do the public safety for fire and EMS
Correct.
after these changes go into effect.
Correct.
Good times.
And we don't know how much that will raise yet because we don't have the formula.
Right. Right. I honestly, I guess, I think I would be in favor of staying the course, like with the rate for this year. Yes, if we next year have no reserves left for, you know, and have hopefully more information, we, you know, have a couple of options, and some of them not very palatable, but, you know, this comes off the top and there's a bunch of extra money at the bottom that we share. And yes, we budget that out and we're using it.
I think we all have it all allocated.
Yeah, but, I just am hesitant knowing kind of the other possibilities surrounding income tax that.
Can't disagree, I just want to
Adding
throw it
to
out
this
there.
one, I know,
Yeah.
I'm just, you know, I think I'm falling on keeping it steady for now. That's just where I am, unless I hear something else. Yes.
Corporation Counsel Margie Rice is present. I don't know, maybe she has some perspective to offer.
I can, yeah, I can come up. No, I can, do you want me to sit here?
You can sit here.
Okay.
Just pull over a chair.
Okay, chair, sorry. I think we're gonna have to redo the interlocal anyway. The interlocal hasn't been redone since 2018, and with all of these funding changes.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to get together with PS Lit going away. I've already heard there are gonna be changes made next year. I attended a CLE last week in Carmel where one of the state legislators gave a talk, and he said, you know, we say we can fix it every year, right? We can come back and fix it, which is frankly kind of a reckless mentality in my mind, but there will be changes, and I think we're gonna have to get together and figure out how this is gonna be funded. I don't think you're at risk if you keep the rate as is, because we do have these reserves in the county, and the city have a long history of working together on these issues, and frankly, I've been a county attorney twice and the corporation counsel twice, and I have never seen dispatch fully funded. I would love to, but going back 3 or 4 sheriffs, it has never
Fully funded or fully staffed?
I mean, fully staffed,
Utilized.
fully
Yeah.
staffed. Yeah, sorry, fully staffed. It's never been fully staffed. So I don't think we're at risk of blowing the budget this year. We'll have, I predict, my crystal ball says we'll have reserves even this year. Now, the risk is that when you are understaffed, you do increase your overtime costs, but even, we've had that situation for decades.
Thank you, Ms. Rice, for that. Further, that was City Corporation Counsel Margie Rice,
Yeah.
for the record.
And can I say one more thing? Typically, when you have reserves in any fund, you're allowed to continue spending them in the same manner that you had used them. So they're not going to claw them back. I think you'll be able to just continue to use it for the same purpose.
I would just add, I'm still trying to get that number from what council said it's minimum fund at. Kate, when we were in that meeting, we were setting it at $1 million, though I don't know if that was adjusted. So like that was the minimum fund balance that in the packet. I'm just trying to get a verification from the auditors who've been talking, but that's just to share with everybody that the council's already set a throttle of $1 million in reserve in that fund. And that's just for our own certification.
Okay. Let me just get clarity on the possible PS Lit after the changes go into effect. First of all, what is the percentage that the county can pass?
0.4.
0.4, that's what I thought. And when do these changes actually go into effect? Like, when does our PS Lit go away?
28. Vote on your new lit in 27, and then it comes through in 28. Like we
I
talked
think
about
that's
this a
what it
little
was,
bit,
yeah.
and I think that's what we agreed on.
but we were still waiting on a formula to figure out how to get that done.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we researched it, that's the answer we have currently.
Vote in
Okay,
27.
so we will have PS Lit revenues in 26 and 27?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes.
the
Yes.
expiration is effective July 1, 2027.
So we'll only
Okay, so
have half a
of
year
27.
of 27.
And I think we're still guessing.
Yeah.
They haven't actually told us.
Hold on, let's see.
So we'll need this committee again next
It may be
year.
December, it may be December 31st, 2027. Let me double check that.
The DLGF will put out like timelines.
Mhm.
They haven't promulgated this law yet, like told you, okay, here's the law, but now the DLGF has to tell us how to follow the law. And so they'll put out timelines, like you have to have your vote, city council is gonna vote on a tax rate, you have to have that to the DLGF by this, they'll pick a date.
Mhm.
And all that kind of stuff hasn't come out yet. And that'll be really important for us to understand kind of the timeline of how this is gonna work.
Odd question, but how much is the state keeping in arrears for this? Because they keep so many months in arrears
Right.
before they start paying.
Right.
And there's a couple years where we've gotten, hey, we have too much.
Yes.
Here's the windfall.
It's like based on like a cash balance threshold.
Right.
And so it's when that cash balance is 15, it's like over 15% of something. I don't know what that something is because it's different for every county.
Right.
It's when you're over 15% of that something, then you get that once a year.
Right.
Yeah, extra payment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know exactly.
Figure at least $1 million, $1.5 million, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure.
Looks like we don't have a minimum balance set.
Okay, good.
Oh, well then what was the 1 million that David was talking about?
That was what was proposed in the meeting, that
Proposed.
we actually scratch it, Kate, because I didn't get, did I get an answer yet?
I'm asking the auditor, and she said no minimum
No, I-
balance.
Okay, so yeah, I guess because I've been texting her, I guess she got to you first. Okay, disregard.
Okay, well, whenever somebody feels confident, they may make a motion as to what the PSAP rate should be for this coming year. And then, once the motion is on the table, we can still discuss.
Christine, could you bring up that, the orange, blue, and green? Yeah, bring up that spreadsheet so everyone can see what they're voting on. Yeah. So just as a reminder, the yellow box, the rate we're proposing is 0.0631% to raise estimated, sure to go up a little, 2,781,462 in revenue. Yes.
And I'm sorry, you're looking for a motion now?
Yes, please.
I would make the motion that we leave the PS Lit rate the same for next year as we had for this year.
I second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to leave the rate the same, which would be 0.0631%. Is there any further discussion?
Are the city reserves held by the city?
Yes.
Okay.
They're in our fund list, they're in our,
Okay.
all of us, yes.
I just know that county sometimes hangs on to stuff, and just,
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure where that is.
City reserve is with us.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would be in favor of this motion. I think next year we'll have more information, and we can seriously consider, if we want to increase it for 27 to get more reserves. We also will have a better picture of staffing at dispatch. But just based on what we know, it seems good to stay the course, I think. Any other discussion or comments? All right, well, let's go ahead and vote then. Counselor Henry?
Yes.
Councilmember Daley?
Yes.
Counselor Welts?
Yes.
Board member
Hold on.
Scott.
We'll
Scott.
get there. Yes. Yes. Yes.
And I will also vote yes. So that passes by a vote of 5-0. Mr. Carter unfortunately doesn't have a vote, that's why I skipped him.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for your contributions anyway. All right, so that passes. So I believe that, oh my goodness, I was supposed to go to public comment. I'm very sorry. Do we have any members of the public who would like to comment? I apologize, we definitely should have done that before the vote. But we still welcome your comments. Anybody who would like to comment? Pardon me? Nobody's raising a hand? All right, well, good. Did that the wrong way around, but anyway. So I think that this means we do not need legislation to go to the different bodies that comprise the tax council. Is that correct, Attorney Lehner?
I believe that's correct.
Okay. So what else do we need to do today during this meeting? Is there any other vote or business we need to take care of?
Does the controller
Not
need
yet.
anything else?
No. I have everything I need.
Good, good. All right.
Budget, and we have a rate.
Well, thank you for your help with this, and let's move on to matters of schedule. We had a tentative meeting scheduled that I think we don't need. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't even remember the date of it.
It is on Monday, July 28th. At 12:30.
12:30.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to cancel the meeting on the 28th.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Let's vote on the motion to cancel the meeting on July 28th.
Do you have to take a public comment on that?
Do we need to
No?
take public
Okay.
comment? I don't think so. Counselor Henry?
Yes, there you go.
Councilmember Daley?
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Board Member Oldham?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. All right. Is there any other business that anybody would like to raise? Somebody in the hallway wants to raise something. All right. Well, then I believe we can adjourn, and I thank you all very much for your help, everybody who came today. All right, we are adjourned.